Hello, Storytelling Run. This is going to be a little quick rant, and then I'm going to go sort of just fun deep dive into my Christian space thing again, because Star Wars. Star Wars. We all love Star Wars, but it's getting bad. It's getting sad. We Christians are not allowed to be part of the reindeer games anymore. It's pretty obvious, right? The LGBTQT activist agenda has taken over. I am homophobic. I am transphobic. So, so when they say that, when they accuse you, say yes. Absolutely. Because we are. I mean, I don't have a fear of them, but if they're going to call us that, they're going to call us white devils, white supremacists, white racists. I mean, I don't even know what white is, but whatever they're going to call us, just so, yeah. I mean, I guess within limits, but, transphobe. Yep. I'm transphobic. Homophobe. Yep. Islamophobe. Yep. Yep. So Star Wars, they obviously the LGBTQ is taking it over, and George Lucas was never a Christian. I mean, I think he grew up in a Christian culture and ethics and stuff, but he certainly is not of Christ. And as much as we love Star Wars, or what feelings it emoted and gave us, and the incredible craftsmanship of the filmmaking, incredible editing, I want to shout out for that. Other directors and writers that were part of it. It's been a wonderful thing, and there was that period there where I wasn't even paying attention. The Clone Wars and then all the books and comics. So it's obviously got a huge, wonderful thing. And I delved into I have all the Star Wars RPG from these guys here. I wish I could show you. I have they're all down here, this whole road, and this thing collapsed. I should work on this today. I gotta glue this and fix the shelf. IKEA press board, but whatever. But anyway, I got all the books down there. And I went deep into Star Wars lore, like a couple years ago. You can see on my YouTube channel. So I know a lot about Star Wars now, as a new convert of it. But of course now, seeing the writing on the wall, I have left it, and it was difficult because there is a feeling in it that I love, the adventure and space. It's swashbuckler Western, a bit space opera, which is Dune is more space opera hardcore. And actually, my Space Masters, when I used to really be into Space Masters, that was more space opera too. The role playing game under ice. International Crown Enterprises. They did Space Master. Who are the ones that did Roll Master, which is rules. So I really am into sci-fi, and I love it and get kind of crazy on it. And I also love fantasy too, but I get crazy on the sci-fi too. And so I knew Star Wars was depressing, and as I was working on my Christian, For the Lord RPG Dark Ages, I really knew I wanted to do an APOC and a sci-fi, and I really worked hard on it. Anyway, so let me get back to this here. So this is depressing. The upcoming Star Wars TV show, The Acolyte, is packed with LGBTQT talent, and we're already obsessed. With, and then look at this is who's running Star Wars, or who took it over. I feel like a charlatan got in there, and but. It's just the way Hollywood is anyway. Put a girl in it, make it lame, make it gay, whatever. So I want to show. This is from Nerdrotic, and I really I really appreciate him and his editor. I think it's Quarterblack Garrett that does it. But the editing and showing of these individuals is just. This is who's running Star Wars. Who's creating the stories that we're supposed to get into for adventure and storytelling. And I mean, and they showed a lot of great, this video here and of course that person who's running the Acolyte is, his assistant, was his assistant. I want to show the image of that personal assistant who knew his activities and what he did, what he was up to. She gets a pass, I think, because she's such a strong, she probably was the one that led the Gina Carano thing with Kathleen Kennedy. And then, of course, this Muslim woman who wants to make men uncomfortable. I don't know if she's making Pakistani men uncomfortable. Does she go there and make Pakistani men uncomfortable? I'm serious. Like, she's a Muslim. She's now one of the writers of Star Wars. She's taking over a Western white guy IP and saying she's going to make us all uncomfortable. And I've seen the little videos of her proclaiming that. And then they're also saying, like, here, they said, in one of the interviews, there's no good or evil. It's just power. So it's really who wants the power. There's no morals here. And then, here she is trying to be, this is who we're, this is who, man, and then of course, Bob Iger, I'm looking at, zombies, stormtroopers. That was very weird when I watched that. So yeah, this is who we're, wow, this was pretty, I didn't know that this thing here. Mark Hamill, the ex-girlfriend of Mark Hamill's son, says the Star Wars actor tried to force her to get an abortion. Oh, that's, anyway, thank you, Nerdrotic, for your very cool videos on that and your success. Anyway, so where am I going here? Oh, I'm going to go back to my face, and then I'm going to go to my game. But my point being, that's what we're, Star Wars, all of these Hollywood productions, all the sci-fi that is not of a Christian, created by a Christian, is going to go that way. They all are. They're just going to go that way. Read Romans 1. They're going to go that way. They're going to push that agenda on you and your kids. If you invest in it, that's what the inevitability of what you're going to encounter. And I know you could say, well, I'm just going to do my part, do my thing and ignore that, but you can't. What if you're teaching your kids Star Wars, the good stuff, and then as kids, and then they go off to look at Star Wars because they love it so much, so, and I do still really enjoy and love the Star Wars stuff. So don't get me wrong there. I'm just saying though, we need to step by step, 12-step sobriety thing, remove ourselves from it. So, and it's going to get worse, as you can see. So I want to just bring up my Christians in Space game, role-playing game. It is Christian. I've got to do like a church, this is where I'm going to start deep diving. I got to do a church, thing where they have like our beliefs. Like I would definitely want to put in, you got to be Christian Science. You got to be pro-life, Bible, inherent word of God. Jesus is God, the Trinity. I really want to, and Christian Science, I think, is one where like, can we believe in evolution or long? No, I don't want to, I personally, I'm not, if you want to be like a contributor or part of whatever, the main thing, and that's going to be, where all the all the storyline is going to be canon or whatever. It's going to be all part of, it's got to be creation and science adherent, etc. And the reason is I'm finding, and this is kind of Answers in Genesis, like, I've heard them sort of say this too. It's not a salvation issue, but it is a, churches and Christians that accept evolution seem to also accept many other things, like abortion is not ours to judge, and they seem to be progressive, and they seem to start compromising on many other things. Whereas when you're Christian Science, it seems like you don't really compromise on all these other issues. You actually take God's word for what it is. And it's amazing because 6,000 years versus millions and millions of years that they claim, that's to me is like, it's a very, it's a clarity of whether you really are believe in God and his word and that he is sovereign, or God is just a part of an optional pagan-y pantheon of things that you can choose from for goodness, So I've got the rules here, it's a lot of fire. I'm going to go through, I got fun salvage tables here, vessels. You got ships, you got robots. This is all the I'm doing these are all the GM screens, by the way. I'm trying to do like at the beginning, some infographics to quickly explain the game, the basic, thing of the game. I'm trying to create that on there. And then some examples of characters. And then you got your starting transport. with your starting mission supplies. So the characters actually immediately have a ship and supplies so they can go start exploring. And you can come up with your own. I have a planetary preparatory thing where you can actually create your own campaign, not even following the one I have on here. Where is it? Where is it? You can create your own life forms, beast forms. That's right here somewhere. Planetary preparatory. You can have your own planets if you want. It's fun. I rolled these. I've rolled through these, and it's really fun. Evangelizing pagans. You can set up a pagan activity and what kind of pagans are there, and they could even be like fighting each other kind of pagans. There's Marxism, and different kinds of different paganism, and there's a conversion level too. So you will set up like how evil or how good they are, and you can even set it up within the different factions as they're sort of vying for control of an area. And when the evangelists come in, they could start trying to evangelize, and this is what they're going to encounter. Violently evil, manipulative evil, evil as chaff, neutral evil, sinners, listeners considering savable. Once you've got them to savable, and basically when you save them, they go up or down a level. So, and once you got them to savable, you can start. They will help you. They want to learn. They want to join with you in a house church, an underground church, a hidden church, and will literally help you try to get your church set up in that area. And we've even got a little page here on church planting. Where is it? Evangelizing, extrapolate a little more, and then church plant. So once you plant a church, you can build it up, that church in that community. Let me just go to. I'm just going to go all over the place. So this is the first campaign book called Edge Sector, and this is basically I'm taking out like Outer Rim. There's like a Tatooine planet. This is not. There's a Tatooine planet. Let me go to that one real quick. And it has like these pipes running around the planet, like in a desert, because it's terraformed, and all kinds of different encounters and adventures. And I got to fill this up. I want to fill up like each of these is a page of adventure. And I'm a GM. I use these, so I want this to be very easy to access. Like you could literally put this down on your, as a 2-page spread, and go with it. You don't need to do a bunch of extra stuff. I mean, except your own notes. For however you want to play it out. I like to put in factions. I have a really in-depth. I'm going to need to break this up. I have I'm going to type this right now, and I'm going to remind myself. Very in-depth info on this city or town on Foundry. I put it in Foundry. I like to sort of do my work in Foundry and then bring it over. Although I should do it in here because it's harder to copy and paste the other way. But I've got all these little factions and their conversion levels, and it was really fun to do. I think I did it as one in my member videos. That's the kind of stuff I do there. I do my little GM prep, so you have long form videos in there if you ever want to be a member. And it's similar to what I'm doing right now. I do those kind of things in the member thing. Very in-depth info on this town and Foundry, get it here. This is going to be part of the. I'm going to make that big. Part of the book. So you got a trade hub here. You got, these are kind of like my Tusken Raiders, but these are actually lizards who are given human genetics. So the story, the background of this sci-fi setting is that the atheists departed Earth. They got obsessed with leaving Earth. There's a whole timeline I've got on here where they abandoned Earth. They had Christians in prison camps on Earth. Traveling to other star systems, they realized is basically time dilation, and it's like theory of relativity, time dilation, where once you get out of the star systems, not only speed but time increases, so you actually go through incredibly fast versus the gravity fields of star systems and Earth. So you actually, it only takes you a few weeks to get, billions of million light years away, or whatever the light years are. It only takes you a few weeks of travel, or less, a week maybe. So once they realized that, they and of course atheists took over the Earth and controlled everybody. They went into the galaxy to terraform and plant and all that. And the humans were left on Earth, and the Christians, we got nuked by the atheists because that's what they do. They they'll spite you out of spite. They wanted to erase Christianity, Israel, Earth, everything wrong with our, sin or whatever that they think they can cleanse from reality. So they did that, went into space. So on Earth, we have an apocalyptic setting. Then after that, which is what the APOC one I had, the game setting, and then it takes them like 100 years, or the Christians 100 years to re-civilize Earth. They make it a Christian sort of utopia. It's not a utopia, but a Christian nation. But there's still problems on Earth, so we always have other settings there. Still plenty of like, gamma world type regions, but much of it is like kind of like the old 80s or 50s, America with Christian nationalists. And then they get it. And then some of the atheists return back to Earth, called the prodigals, and they try to reinvade Earth, and they act like aliens. So they're XCOM, alien invasion type thing. And there's a horror. And then the Christians fight back, and learn about, remember about atheists that are there in space and doing whatever they're doing out there. And then they finally defeat the prodigals. It takes like 100 years or 50 years or whatever. And this is another game setting, the alien invasion that I'd like to get going. And then then they decide we got to go out and, evangelize all the other atheists out there. And the prodigals knew about Earth, but most of the atheist regimes don't. They think that Earth was nuked and the solar system is a dead system. So that's why it's been erased from like the data of all the galaxy, because they wanted to forget it, initially when they left our Earth. So that's why Earth is sort of a hidden haven then, where the Christians can, hide from this galactic empire and send out missionaries. And that's the setting that we have here. And so the missionaries are going out, knowing a bit about the galaxy, but not everything, obviously, because the prodigals, when they interrogated the prodigals, whoever they defeated, told them some, quite a bit of info, but obviously you still got to go out and discover. And the Star Crusaders are the sort of like the Templar Space Marines that, you can use those, just missionaries. And yeah, you're going to go out to all these different planets. And I'm making planets. I'm making ones based on just, sci-fi genres I want to see and do and want them to explore. But I've also made the planetary preparatory, so you can create your own. And I'm going to start using that as well. I've used it for a little bit of this, but I created it after I've done most of these initial planet things, but I do want to do it for further out. And I do have a thing where you can go further out beyond the map that I've started, so that, you can do all these planetary preparatory things. Because I think, where's the map that I have of the galaxy? Might be at the beginning. Let me go up to the beginning. Here it is. So this is the, just the local region. And I have the debriefing, so they do know a bit about what's going on before they head out to try to evangelize. And here's the timeline. Like I said, the modern day setup, post-apocalyptic is 2300 AD, horror alternate history 2420 AD, alien invasion 2450. So the prodigals, when they return, they don't just attack Earth. They start creating like a Cthulhu type scary world. So you can have a Cthulhu game kind of horror, but I haven't set that up yet. I haven't created the setting yet. So what I've done, I purposely did it this way, trying to figure out how to bring in all the genres we love. In the post-apocalyptic, you can have a zombie apocalypse, you can have gamma world, you can have word warrior gangs, you can do all that kind of stuff. In the horror alternate, you can have Cthulhu-y. But you're Christians. You're Christians going around trying to figure out what the heck is going on, and there's obviously unbeliever clandestine operations going on, where the prodigals have gotten people to believe in them, like kind of like Satanists. So you can have that kind of a creepy thing, and the prodigals are using all this psychological warfare to try to undermine the culture before they invade it with their XCOM, Mars attacks, Terminator, alien invasion type settings. Which again, I haven't created these games yet, but I'm creating the premise so that we can all start doing that. And then the sci-fi horror is where finally discovering who the prodigals really are. You gotta go out into the solar system and cleanse them from the solar system. And that's what the Star Crusaders are doing. And it's like low sci-fi, low space tech, kind of like Mothership and Death in Space and those kind of, or Aliens. It's kind of like that. You're going out or like even Doom. I imagine Doom, like they're going to all these like Mars. The prodigals like created bases on Mars and out in Jupiter and all that, and so you got to go and cleanse those places, and they're full of like demonic activity in the sense of like Terminators, aliens, bioengineered horrors, that are and feel very demonic. So there's that, and then of course 2500 is the modern Traveler, Star Trek, Star Wars, Warhammer 40K type of fun. Really great game. I said in a previous video that I had one issue where I'm still trying to clean this up, and I think I've got it. I think I've got it figured out. But there's a part of the game where the dice mechanics are, I love them, but it's sort of, I have to explain them. It's difficult to explain. But once I don't know, now that I understand, and even for myself, it took me a while. It's very weird how I am doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and explain it right now, just because I'm doing a weird deep dive. So you have a D20 and you add your trait to the roll, and then you have skills, right? Whatever your skills are. Well, how does that work? I don't want skills to be +1, +2, +3. I don't want that constant, because so like if you have let's just keep this simple. Okay, let's say shooting a laser gun. So if you have a skill in shooting a laser gun, I don't want it to be where you have your awareness being a +3 or +4, and then your skill is +4, so you have a +8. So I just feel like you're always going to get a hit. And you're always going to, unless you roll a nat 1, you're pretty much going to get a hit. You're going to beat 12 or whatever the defense is. But I don't like the +8 or +9 or +10, like in D&D, especially when you get to a certain levels, you get that +9 or +11 or whatever. It just feels weird to me. I like that there can be a bell curve or a range of successes and failures, even as you get better at something. The goal as you get better at something is to just reduce the amount of fails, but doesn't, end it or whatever. And so for skills and bonus dice that increase your chance of getting things, you just increase a secondary dice, right? So a D4. The first level of, say, shooting that you get skills is a D4. So 1 through 4. So, you get 2, 3, and 4. So that's pretty cool. But then, you get a D6 if you go up another skill level. It's called die ranks. So you go, if 2 die ranks is a D6, 3 die ranks is a D8. Do I have it on here? The chart? 4 die ranks here. 4 die ranks is a D10. And then when you go to 5 die ranks, it's a D12. So 5 die ranks is a D12. So if you're shooting, you got a D20 plus your trait of +4 and plus a D12 to hit. Okay, so and then the bonus dice, by the way, are other things. And maybe I should put in die ranks. Yeah, die ranks. And more die ranks. Okay. Because what are the die ranks? The die ranks refer to everything that gives you an advantage. And I have high ground. Okay, I'll give you a die rank for that. I'm aiming. I'll give you a die rank for that. Because you didn't move, so I'm gonna do an aim. All right, you get one die rank for that. And you get a die rank for high ground. Anything else? I'm going to add part of my inspired die. How many do you want to add? 2. All right, you got 4 die ranks there. So that's 4 die ranks plus a skill of, let's say, 5 die ranks. So that's 9 die ranks. Uh-oh. But that's the fun of it. So let's say the person has 9 die ranks plus they really want to hit this, whatever. Using their trait, using the D20, they got 9 die ranks. What is 9 die ranks then? What the heck do you do with 9 die ranks? See, I love it because you can keep adding die ranks. All you do with the 9 die ranks then is you divide it by 5 and you get the dice pool. Okay, so the dice pool is, so the first 5 is D12. Then the next 4, remainder 4 is a D10. So a D12 and a D10, you roll that and you keep the highest. So I love it because when they roll their dice pools, a lot of times they will still fail. It's hilarious, but a lot, obviously more chances than not, they will get a high number, from the 2 numbers. There's also exploding dice. If you roll 2 7s, you can add all the dice. And if you roll just a 7, that can counter a nat 1 if you roll a nat 1. So dice pools, I really like the dice pool concept, and the dice pool concept came from Star Wars FFG, or the way they do the dice pool stuff. But I wanted to keep it in as far as just numbers. So that's what I'm using for that. And I like die ranks because you can just continually add. And I'm not afraid as a GM to continually add die ranks to them or myself, because you still do a dice pool and it still kind of brings it back down to an average. Even if that average is a little higher, I still like that it's a bell curve. I'm shifting the bell curve on the what chances of what numbers you're going to get, but it's not always constantly like a success or always a high number all the time. I want it to be a bell curve where there's still chances of failures in that roll. Even if you have a ton of die ranks, you can still have a flub. Like this one down here is 13 die ranks divided by 5, so that's 2 d12s, and then a 3 left over, which is a d8. And that's what that is here. And you roll it and you keep the highest. And of course, there's a chance when you have a lot of die ranks, there's obviously a chance for some cool, combos of the 2 7s or getting a 7. And I mean, you could, and it's fun as you could even add more combos if you want, it's optional. Like if you get a 6 and an 8, you get this, or if whatever. I don't have that listed, but that'd still be a fun thing to do. I know some people like to do that kind of stuff. And so these die ranks, you can then, and here's another cool thing about die ranks. This right here is a die rank result. So let's say you roll your die ranks, your trait, your skill of, let's not use shooting now. Let's use piloting. It's the simplest. If you're using piloting, and I love this concept where when you pilot, you can help your other teammates on the ship with your maneuvering, or you can help defend the ship by zigzagging, or you can help escape based on your roll. And it's based on how high of a roll you do, not just if you succeed at this or just succeed at that. And it's like team play. Your success there will give the other players advantages. Like, you're lining up their shot for them. You're helping, turn so that they can have a better angle to see the target and shoot at it. So what happens here is you roll, and let's just say you roll really high. Obviously, that's what the goal. You got all these die. You got this whole roll here, let's just say, and you roll this, and you get a 12 and a 20 and a +4 for awareness. That's piloting. And by the way, this here has to do with your skills and anything else that was given to you as a bonus when you're flying. The D12, and the 13 die ranks here. So I know it's a little complicated, but it gets fun once you understand the divide by 5 thing to get the die ranks as a dice pool, convert it to a dice pool. And let's just say the person rolls, let's see, let's just use the highest number. 20 +4 +12 is, what is that? 32, 36? 20, 32, 36, right? 36. All right. So 36 is their roll. And now the opposing pilot's going to do a roll and counter that, but I'm just going to say their total roll was a 12. Like, it was just a little space orc, piloting the ogre ship that they were on. And yes, you got orcs. I don't have orcs yet. I have ogres, like the ogrigs. I call them ogrigs. The ogrigs, I was just say a space ogrig, is a dumb pilot, just and they got a big old. They do have a big scary ship because they're such thick armor. But let's just say they rolled a 12, and of course your pilot rolled a 36. So 12 minus 36 is 24, right? So 24. Whoa, wow. What's a 24? Well, divide that by half, and that's the die ranks. 12 die ranks. You have 12 die ranks of success. What does that mean? It's really weird, I know, but I love it. You now can disperse those 12 die ranks. I use 6 for defense, and I give 3 and 3 to both my gunners. So you're giving die ranks out. So if you give 6 to your defense, I will add that to your defense of your ship. And so what's 6? So it's a D12 and a D4. I will roll that really quickly, or let them roll it, whoever. And let's just say they roll a 6 on the D12. So they can add that to the defense of the ship. So that means they're zigzagging or whatever. And so the other guys then that are gunning, they can add 3 die ranks to their whatever their skill is on their gunning and shooting. And I haven't done this, but I was thinking about, well, what if I use this also for the shooting? But I think that's going to take up too much time. Like adding the more success you hit in your to hit, you can add these die ranks of damage to your gun or whatever. But I don't want to do that because there's plenty of damage going on as it is. So I stop it right there. 2 hits are just to hit, how muchever you roll over. The combat stuff, but definitely the piloting, I love that you can do that. And it's the same thing with comlinks. They can roll that versus the opponent's comlinks. And if they get really high, they can disperse die ranks to defense as well because of targeting. Because comlinks is like electronic warfare. They can add it to the shooters, get better targeting on their guns, and they can actually, in the comlinks guy who rolls first, can actually give it to the pilot as well to give him better information on what's going, the other ship. And he can also, the comlinks guy can spend it on the GM asking for more info on the ship, like scanning the ship, who's in there, what's going on in there, what kind of ship isn't, what do they have? And if he really wanted, he could actually put it as a penalty to the other guys. But putting it on the defense of your own ship is probably the best way to keep from getting, hit. But so there's that. Also, the other thing, this comlinks guy, if they do really roll really high, they could affect robots targeting in the rolls too. They can't hack them as far as controlling them, because I have a whole cultural, everyone has a safety thing on that. So there's no actual control of something, but you can penalize what it does. It's kind of like Star Wars. You can do stuff like that. And I would allow them to maybe do information on systems in a ship or space station, and even control basic stuff in a ship, but not like a take over a robot security system or something, because those are all hardwired. They're partially hardwired is the concept. Same with prayer, cooking, and comforts. When you roll and get these high die ranks, you can disperse them amongst your missionaries. Upgrades. For upgrades, you can't. For engineering, you can upgrade things. That's a succeed or fail, that part. But the die ranks can be used to reduce supplies and time, or it can be added to your die rank bonus if you're going to do on the next level upgrade immediately. Like if you're planning on doing a couple of them, so in the same time though, you can't save it for later. So there's that. Healing is, when you get those die ranks, the actual die rank is the number of the amount healed, or convert the die rank to a die. So if the die rank is 3, that's a D8. So you heal 8. I just do it like that. That's I give them the full number. You heal 8 hit points. Vitality. And then let's say you get, incredibly high heal roll and you get 12. So you don't need 12. You're right. Let's say you only use 5 of the die ranks, which is a D12. So you heal them 12 and you have 7 left over. You can use that as a temporary inspired die to the patient. Like they really feel great, So for the next turn, they can actually add that 7 die ranks to whatever they do. Cause they're just, you did it. Thank you so much. Whatever they're going to do, roll. If it's an attack, if they're not doing anything, then that's it. You don't get it for anything. Convert the die ranks to, so same with repairs. If you repair something, these two are kind of special that once you get that die rank, you figure out the die and just use that number to repair the hull or whatever. Or you can use the die rank to reduce the penalty. Things will have a wear and tear, and they will take off like a minus die rank. You have your armor's damaged, -2 die ranks. So you got to get that repaired. So this is a way to counter that by getting die ranks to repair it. And again, any extra die ranks over what you needed can reduce the supplies or time used to repair, and it can be a temporary inspired die to the benefactor of the repair in the next turn only. So, if you're in combat and they you repair their stuff immediately, and they're like, wow, they're gonna get a little boost just for the next turn only. Otherwise, it's the die ranks are gone, spent or unused. So that's my crazy die rank DRR. Die rank result rules and die rank results, die ranks, and dice pool and it's really for these kind of cool extra special rolls, not for combat, not for necessarily you against someone else. I mean, you do use die ranks for sure, but not the die rank results. In converting someone, you just got to fail or succeed on that. So I try to keep this to these basic things right here that are on this list here. But they're pretty big in the game. Repairs, upgrades, prayer, cooking, comfort, surgery. It's pretty big in the game as far as what I've been discovering. And a lot of the, especially the bottom ones of these, are very role play, right? They're kind of part of the game where the game slows down, and they're all trying to delve into, building up their characters. The comlink and piloting one is obviously in the spaceship combat thing, and but it goes pretty quickly, At the beginning of each turn, we do comm links, and then we do piloting, and then after that, everyone's shooting. So I do it pretty quickly. And whoever wins on the piloting goes first. So there's that too. Pretty simple. I keep it simple. And the ranges are, I don't really use the gun ranges anymore. They're just you're in range. I just kind of use narrative, just shoot, So that's kind of oddbally. But it's so much to do. So much to remember that, use what rules you can and just keep the game going. Dreadbots are basically my Terminators. They were built by the humans in the timeline in the story. So I've got a lot of backstory for all these different factions that fit in with that timeline that I have for the galaxy. See the Empire's here, and they had there's a story here about how everything kind of got spread out and disseminated. So I'm really happy with it. It's very Star Warsy and even sort of Star Trek-y. I'm not missing anything now from Star Wars. We got our own system here. I think what I'm missing is I need more of you to jump in and take the plunge into this. And I've just finished a Kickstarter, so I appreciate that. And I'm finishing up this game so that you all can use it. And I got to make, if you want to be a contributor too, I'd love that. But I got to have that sort of list of beliefs that you need to be part of for me to accept that you as a contributor for it. But I'll figure that out as soon as I get this done. The Kickstarter version of the Creatures of Space, and I have not implemented this to the Dark Ages and the Apocalypse one yet. But it's close. They're close. It's funny. The big rule there that I was just talking about the die rank results is there, but it's not as cleaned up as I'm trying to do here with the divide by 5 and remainder divided by 2. Sorry, we're using division. But it's low number division, okay? Not high number. Good for kids, I guess, But yeah, I'm going to try to also make a kid version of this for home, because I'm going to homeschool convention soon, and I do want a better kiddie version but still on this, but for kids. I don't know. I got to figure that out. I definitely want them, it's really important though that a dad be the GM, and I think, and then the kids, play with the dad. But kids like middle school, high school, I suppose would, here's a weird thing. When I was a kid, I had Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and I was in elementary. I was really young. And I loved it. It was complicated. Where is it? Let me find it real quick. Where's my D&D stuff? My Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. That's weird. I just don't see it. I have it. What the heck? Where's all my Dungeons and Dragons? A bunch of books fell. Well, not fell, but I have them stacked here. Maybe it's there. I mean, I was a little kid. Oh, here it is. Ah! I was definitely a little kid when I had this, and I loved it. And I was in elementary and then middle school. So, this is, and it's not even that I played it 100% correctly, but, it's pretty complicated. And, this is just a pack full. There's barely any artwork. It's just tons of rules. And I obsessed over this so much. So I don't feel like what I'm showing here is that much different than that. So we should be able to challenge kids to learn a system. Today they're playing video games, really good video games, really complicated ones that, like Fortnite and all that. There's a lot of time sink games. But, when I was a kid, I had that too. I had video games too. we loved it. Even though they were simpler, we still obsessed over those as well. So I don't see that as an issue. So I kind of, should I make a game simpler or should I just keep it, so I'm going through that in my mind as well. Because, obviously when I did it, it was complicated and I loved it. It's got to be in your DNA as to be RPG or, anyway, so I think I'm going to end this video here. This is my thoughts and process on all this and just showing you what I'm doing. And this should probably be a member only video, but since I kind of ranted at the beginning, I'm going to put this on my regular thing. How, we're just not, we can't, as Christians, we do need to separate ourselves. We are being persecuted. It's happening at an incredible rate. So my solution is just the biblical one, right? We just need to continue doing what we're doing. We need to be Christian all the time, including in our games. That's my issue. I feel is that we're expediting the end times because we are stepping away from our faith whenever they ask us to. And we need to stop. And if we can do it in a simple, silly little RPG game, then we can do it. They're going to make us do it all over the place in entertainment and culture and in public forum and on X, on Twitter. They're going to make us. They're attacking us everywhere. Because whenever we show our faith, and I'm saying, show your faith. If you're going to get kicked out, it's weird that I'm hearing a lot of Christians say, I'm going to upset them or I'm going to get kicked out of the game. Well, if you're going to bring your faith in the game, then you're going to get kicked out. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So show your faith. Anyway, I got to go get some breakfast. Ooh, I got to go. All right. And the game of life. Roll holy dice.